Good morning, welcome to the Podium on 32 FM 94.9. My name is OLORUNTOBA. YUSUF, good to have you join us on the program this morning. This morning we'll begin the conversation in Rivers State, where the drama seemed to not come to an end at the moment. This time around, the Rivers State government has dismissed claims that denied the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike and Rivers State coordinator of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors Desmond Akawo access to the Yakubu Gowon Stadium for the inauguration of a political support group for President Bola Tinubu. Akawo had alleged on Friday that the state government had blocked the group from using the stadium for the inauguration of the Renewed Hope Ambassadors. He made the allegation while addressing supporters during the group's inauguration ceremony held in Port Harcourt, River State capital, on Friday. Of course, the claim was later reinforced by the FCT minister, who in his remarks at the event warned that if access to the facility is not granted, supporters of the group would forcibly gain entry to the stadium. This is coming amid different issues in River State. First, who is the APC leader in the state? The back and forth between Wike and the APC National Public Secretary Senator Jibola Basiru over the comments made by Fubara regarding him being 0-1 in the state. Not forgetting the impeachment saga still brewing in the state as well. And the House of Assembly members, even those from the John Nation, saying that they initially withdrew their plan to join the impeachment proceeding, but now they are fully back on track. They also report that the APC is engaging Wike towards finding a lasting solution to the crisis in River State. Joining us this morning is an environmentalist and a political stakeholder in River State, Anke Briggs. Good morning, good to have you on the podium. Good to have you as always.
And Happy New Year. We've not spoken this.
Yeah, we haven't spoken this year. Happy New Year to you too. Happy New Year to you too. Yeah, as you know, the Podium is a panel discussion. Prof is already here. Prof, good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here this morning, and then I welcome our guest. Happy New Year to you. It's a pleasure to
Happy New Year, sir. Good morning.
All right. Thank you so much. Professor Remi Ayede there, Professor of Political Science, University of Ibadan. Barrister Yomi Ogunlola is also, we're hoping he will join us as the conversation progresses. But let me quickly take you back to that rally in River State where former Governor Nyesom Wike, who is currently the FCT minister, spoke alongside Martin Amawole, some members of the State House of Assembly, and some members of the local government employees in the state as well, talking about their intention to, if access is not granted, forcibly take over the stadium, which according to them was denied access by the state government. Take a listen to what played out there.
Excellency, we want to proceed by going straight to the issue, which is just to reassure you, our political leader, that all the members of the River State House of Assembly, that we are reaffirming what we said earlier when we had our sitting and we came up with a resolution, which is that we are still standing with His Excellency Mr. President. We are still reaffirming our position that we are still calling on him to run for a second term.
Our profound gratitude to His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for all the good things he has done in our dear state, for all the political appointments that he has given to our people, for all the projects, that he has cited, particularly the Bodoboni Road, which our people can travel freely from Port Harcourt to Boni now. The Federal Polytechnic for Environment, and so many things that we cannot enumerate now because of time factor. And also, especially, we want to thank him for restoring peace in our dear state.
We applied to the state government for the General Gowon Yakubu Stadium. They refused us. But let me say, next time we will do this. If you don't approve it, we will break it by force. So the coordinator of the state, write again to the state government, choose a day, we inaugurate the world level. I want to say to everybody to hear, enough is enough. We are all from River State. Nobody can deny us the facilities of the state. If you don't agree to give us, we will do the useful and we'll take it by force. Heaven will never fall. Even when heaven falls, everywhere will be at peace. Thank you.
Well, former Governor Nelson Wike, current FCT minister, they're saying that, look, if you don't grant access, we'll take it by force. Heaven will not fall. You also heard some officials of River State as well saying that the Tinubu administration has really paid off in the state. They thank the president for appointment and some of the project as well, and also for restoring peace in the state. Okay, let me welcome Barrister as well before we start the conversation. Barrister, good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Oh. Right.
And of course, good morning, our guest.
Good morning, sir.
Right. Okay, so let me go to our guest straight away. Anchor Breaks, I mean, you heard, I don't know if you listened to the audio clip. It looks like the Tinubu government is actually paid off in River State with the project and the appointment from the appreciation given to him by those who attended that pro-Wike rally in the state. They also said that, they're thanking the president for restoring peace in the state. From your analysis of how things are unfolding there, what's your reading of the situation? Can we say peace has actually returned to the state?
I want to, first of all, recognize and be grateful to the fact that we have a professor in political science, and we also have a lawyer, a barrister, a legal personality in this discussion. I am coming from the position of a Rivers daughter. I am coming from the position of Niger Delta daughter. And I am coming with concern, great concerns, from what we have heard, just forgetting every other thing momentarily, just what we have heard from the FCT minister. I mean, you can see very clearly that there is a fight, a massive fight that a handful of people are fighting for. They want to throw the state and the region into confusion and into violence, because anyone who is aware of what River State is like during election, even during the elections of the former governor, who is now the FCT minister, we all know in River State about the violence, the political violence that that comes with elections in River State. As a Rivers daughter, I'm seriously concerned. First of all, I want to the NSA and the president himself to take note that there is nobody that I know of, least of all Governor Siminalayi Fubara, that is against whether the president wants to run again in 2027 or he doesn't want to run again in 2027. The president is supposed to have won election in River State in 2023.
Yeah.
So going by that, and now having a governor in River State that is an APC member, no longer a PDP member, having a State House of Assembly members that all, if not just a little few, maybe one or two, that are not in APC, So you have a state assembly that is in the APC political party. You have a governor, a deputy governor that is in the APC political party. And yet, we have a former governor of Rivers State. He is right when he says Rivers State belongs to all of us. But I begin to wonder if by that all of us, he means just him and the people that are working with him. He left the FCT Abuja and came to hold a rally. He is not a rally master in Rivers State. His work is not to hold rally, to support Mr. President, who appointed him the FCT minister. He's supposed to be in the Federal Capital Territory working for the president. And yet we have him, since he took on this FCT position, I doubt if there is any weekend that the former governor is not in Rivers State, flying the flag of Nigeria on his vehicles. I don't know whether he has those rights. Using outriders, he's not a governor in Rivers State, and putting the state is being cajoled, is being pushed. The people are being threatened. When a minister in a country, any country, when a former governor begins to use words like, if we are not allowed, we will take it by force. The Governor Similayo Fubara, has shown, there are pictures, I've seen it, to show that the stadium is under construction. Now, if a stadium is under construction, there are other places in Rivers State where you can hold a rally. In Port Harcourt itself, there is Adakaboro Park where you can hold a rally in Port Harcourt. There is the Fibrasima in town, near the government house, near the police headquarters, where you can hold a rally, a political rally, if you want to hold it outside. There is the civic center, if you want to hold a political rally, if you want to inaugurate people into the APC. It's not everybody that is a member of APC. The governor has crossed over to APC. And people of Rivers State, the majority of the people of Rivers State, the organic support and supporters that the governor of Rivers State has are not necessarily all members of APC. But some of us have accepted, including me, that if the governor believes that crossing to APC, and I begin to wonder why he shouldn't, because every state in the Niger Delta, apart from Rivers State, which was the last state to cross into APC, the South, the Niger Delta region, is now a region. Even the president, the APC have boasted about it, that we are the only region in the whole of Nigeria that has crossed over to APC. If you remember,
Anke Briggs. Anke Briggs. Sorry.
Region.
Yes.
In fact, it's a PDP, initially a PDP region.
Yes. Please hold that thought. We need to go on this break, because I was going to ask you. Maybe I should ask you so that you ponder on it, and then when we come back, you respond to it as well. As you mentioned, this was a PDP stronghold. Now it has become an APC stronghold. Niger Delta states are fully aligned to the president. Is it an indication of how much the region has benefited from the Tinubu administration? Maybe it has paid off for them, because I heard one of the speakers in that audio clip that talked about the Bonny Road, that talked about the various project political appointments, that he's thanking the president for doing so much for the Niger Delta. So I would ask you that after this break. Do stay with us on the podium. We'll be back in a moment.
Thank you.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9. jẹ́ nínú ẹ̀bùn owó tó lé ní 80 million naira àtàwọn ẹ̀bùn míì tó jojú ní gbèsè nínú ìdíje Golden Hunt promo yìí.
Kò yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ìkéde yìí mọ́ rárá. Pàápàá tó tún ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ẹ̀bùn owó tó jẹ́ 80 million naira àti ẹ̀bùn mìíràn tí wọ́n tún mẹ́nu bà.
Kí ló dé tó fi sọ bẹ́ẹ̀?
Nítorí pé ìyá mi nìkan ti tó láti wádìí ẹ̀ tó tún lọ́rọ̀ owó tó jẹ́ 80 million naira nínú.
Ẹ jẹ́ kí ìṣàwárí náà bẹ̀rẹ̀. Ẹ ṣáà ti ra yálà òdiwọ̀n 30 gram àti 45 gram Golden Mon Golden Hunt tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́. Ẹ yẹnu rẹ̀ wò fún nọ́mbà àrà ọ̀tọ̀ kan kí ẹ sì tẹ *8011*1# kẹ́lẹ̀ ní àǹfààní àti jẹ̀bù ńlá. Promo parí ní April 15, 2026. Golden Mon jẹ́ kí gbogbo ọjọ́ ó dàbí wúrà.
Every meal I cook must taste just right. Rich, delicious, full of love.
We hear you. Your Maggi Star in double cubes. Double the flavor, double the convenience. The same trusted taste you love. Maggi Star Double Cubes. Made from fermented soya and other selected ingredients for that deep flavor and quality that only Maggi brings to your dishes.
Absolutely delicious.
Get Maggi Double Cubes today. Me and Maggi, so good together.
Start your day and have a good time.
𝐃𝐈𝐒 creamer.
Where you need to have the break time.
𝐃𝐈𝐒 creamer.
If not tea, papa garita.
𝐃𝐈𝐒 creamer. 𝐃𝐈𝐒 creamer.
Stay updated with the latest headlines. Catch an in-depth analysis of top stories making headlines across the dailies on Papers Review every weekday 6:30 to 7:30 a.m. and Saturdays 6 to 7 a.m. right here on 32 FM 94.9.
Báwo ni òkú ṣe ń sọnù ní dìpátímẹ́ǹtì yín gan-an pàápàá?
Bókù ṣe ń sọnù, à ń sun oúnjẹ ni.
Adébìtẹ́ o, ọba Adébìtẹ́ o, kádé pẹ́ lórí kí bàtà pẹ́ lẹ́sẹ̀ kẹ́ ló lẹ́yìn pẹ́ ọba Adébìtẹ́ o.
Sinimá lórí ìkànnì 32 FM 94.9 kí ìrìn jíǹgbìn wọjà ayọ̀dún ayọ̀ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ àsìkò tó wà yìí o láti máa jẹ̀gbáládùn ètò àràmàǹdà tí ń ṣàfihàn sinimá àgbéléwò Yorùbá Nollywood lédè Yorùbá gbọ́ngbélé ẹ jẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ẹ̀ ẹ jẹ́ yànnàná ẹ̀ kádẹ́jàmọ̀ yàtọ̀ sẹ́jà àwọn ògbólẹ̀dá ìtàn àwọn òṣèré wo ló kópa nú ẹ̀ báwo ni wọ́n ṣe kópa ṣé wọ́n fakọyọ àbí wọn ò fakọyọ ẹ máa pàdé Waheed Ìṣọ̀lá ọ̀rọ̀ lábí pírẹsẹ̀ntà lọ́jọ́jọ́ Ẹtì Friday ni ó máa wáyé báyìí o láàrin aago kan sáago méjì ọ̀sán lórí ìkànnì 32 FM 94.9 sinimá àgbéléwò Yorùbá Nollywood tó jáde lọ́sẹ̀ yìí a ó jọ yànnàná ẹ̀ ni.
Here you go, dear.
Mom, you didn't add milk.
No need to. Taste it and see why.
Wow, but how?
Is it milky?
Yes.
Is it creamy?
Yes.
That's Milo 3-in-1 milky and creamy for you. It's so milky. I don't need to add more milk.
I love it, Mommy.
Give your kids Milo 3-in-1, milky and creamy. It's truly milky. It contains calcium to help your champ win every day. Milo, energy to go further.
Milo!
Every meal I cook must taste just right. Rich, delicious, full of love.
We hear you. Your Maggi Star in double cubes. Double the flavor, double the convenience. The same trusted taste you love. Maggi Star Double Cubes. Made from fermented soya and other selected ingredients for that deep flavor and quality that only Maggi brings to your dishes.
Absolutely delicious.
Get Maggi Double Cubes today. Me and Maggi, so good together.
أهلا وسهلا فمرحبا يا شر الكريم. Oṣù bùkún oṣù àforíjìn oṣù Ramadan máa wulẹ̀ máa rọra oṣù tí Ọlọ́run Ọba Allah sọ wípé gbogbo ẹni bá ṣe dáadáa kan níbẹ̀ òun yóò san ní ẹ̀san lọ́pọ̀ nínú iṣẹ́ ládá tí ẹ̀dá tún lè ṣe tí ládá ẹ̀dá ó tún fi tẹ̀sùn lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run Ọba Allah ó ní kí ẹ̀dá ó máa ná nínú tí Ọlọ́run fún lóore sójú ọ̀nà tọlọ́run kí ládá tèmi tìrẹ lè tún tẹ̀sùn lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run Ọba Allah pàtàkì jùlọ nínú oṣù Ramadan ìdí nìyí tí ìkànnì 32 FM 94.9 tá a kalẹ̀ kà sájà kan kòkó ọ̀zùgbẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Ìbàdàn fi ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ àwọn ètò ọlọ́kan òjọ̀kan tí a lè ṣe onígbọ̀wọ́ rẹ̀ nínú oṣù Ramadan yìí láti jẹ́ kí ládá tiwa náà tún kún kẹ́kẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run Ọba àwọn ètò tí a lè ṣe onígbọ̀wọ́ rẹ̀ bíi wáàsí ọlọ́gbọ̀n ìṣẹ́jú oníṣẹ́jú mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dógún oníṣẹ́jú mẹ́wàá àti oníṣẹ́jú márùn-ún bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni ìrun pípè lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan àti àwọn ètò kíní àti ètò ìpolówó ọjà lówó tí ò ga jara lọ fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé ẹ̀lọ́ Ali ní 081 43 38 0224 Yusuf 080 53 56 11 31 Ramadan ọdún yìí kò ní jẹ́ àṣemọ fún wa o Allahumma àmín.
Ààrẹ ti tún dòde oṣù Ramadan mọ́rí abá.
jẹ́ nínú ẹ̀bùn owó tó lé ní 80 million naira àtàwọn ẹ̀bùn míì tó jojú ní gbèsè nínú ìdíje Golden Hunt promo yìí.
kò yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe ìkéde yìí mọ́ rárá pàápàá tó tún ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú ẹ̀bùn owó tó jẹ́ 80 million naira àti ẹ̀bùn mìíràn tí wọ́n tún mẹ́nu bà.
kí ló dé tó fi sọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
nítorí pé ìyá mi nìkan ti tó láti wá díẹ̀ tó tún lọ́rọ̀ owó tó jẹ́ 80 million naira nínú.
ẹ jẹ́ kí ìṣàwárí náà bẹ̀rẹ̀ ẹ ṣáà ti ra yálà òdiwọ̀n 30 gram àti 45 gram golden mon golden hunt tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́ ẹ yẹnu rẹ̀ wò fún nọ́mbà àrà ọ̀tọ̀ kan kí ẹ sì tẹ *8011*1# kẹ́lẹ̀ ní àǹfààní àti jẹ̀bù ńlá promo parí ní April 15 2026 golden mon jẹ́ kí gbogbo ọjọ́ ó dàbí wúrà.
Start your day and have a good time.
𝐃𝐈𝐒.
And where you need to have the break time.
𝐃𝐈𝐒.
If not tea, papa garita.
𝐃𝐈𝐒.
kápẹ́ dèlò èdè fèdè yangan àtàwọn àkànlò èdè ayàwòrán tó perégedé fìrómọ̀rí sí fènìyàn pohùn àtàwọn ìṣàmúlò ẹwà èdè Yorùbá tó jíire lẹ́yìn máa pápádé lórí ètò Yorùbá Dùn ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ajé láago 8 àṣálẹ́ ṣaago 8 kọjá 20 ìṣẹ́jú pẹ̀lú ìtúpalẹ̀ àwọn lítírẹ́sì eré oníṣe tó kún fọgbọ́n ìmọ̀ òye àṣà ìrírí lọ́pọ̀ yanturu tá a fi gbélé ayé tó kọ́mọ lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ ìkànnì 32 FM 94.9 lẹ́wọ̀n ti máa gbọ́ ètò Yorùbá Dùn pẹ̀lú Olúbímpé Fátóyè àtọ́kùn ètò a kì í fowó ròyìn kó má lè kọ́ni lójú Olúgbénga Ìdòwú òya gbé sókè. ọjọ́ 17 tí wọ́n ṣe ìgbéyàwó ni olóyè pé ilé ọmọ Dèbó jáde ó sì gé ó fi aṣọ funfun wé. boko jìnnà ìlà kì í kó ìpàdé tó dọjú ajé ọ̀sẹ̀ yìí nìkànnì 32 FM 94.9 Yorùbá Dùn Yorùbá rẹwà Yorùbá wò mí jọjọ.
Every meal I cook must taste just right. Rich, delicious, full of love.
We hear you. Your Maggie Star in double cubes, double the flavor, double the convenience. The same trusted taste you love. Maggie Star double cubes, made from fermented soya and other selected ingredients for that deep flavor and quality that only Maggie brings to your dishes.
Absolutely delicious.
Get Maggie double cubes today. Me and Maggie, so good together.
32 FM
94.9.
Welcome back. The Podium on 32 FM 94.9. If you're just joining us, our guest is 𝐃𝐈𝐒 Briggs. She's an environmental activist and a stakeholder in Rivers State. We are reviewing the issues in Rivers and the Niger Delta region. So, 𝐃𝐈𝐒, thank you for staying with us. Before that break, I asked you a question as to what you think is responsible for what looks like a successful consolidation of President Tinubu's power in the Niger Delta region. The entire region has aligned fully with the APC. One of those who spoke at the rally yesterday in Port Harcourt said that it's because of how the president has so far, his administration has so far done well for the state and the region at large. Talked about Bonny project, talked about, appointment and all of that. So you are in the Niger Delta region. What's your reading of the situation?
Again, I want to be on record that appointments that is being referred to under these circumstances are appointments that is mainly made up, if not absolutely made up, of the hand-picked people that are supporters of the former governor, because he refers to them as his supporters. So we have to accept that they are his supporters. And he has nominated all of them. He is in PDP as of the time and now when he nominated them. Fubra was also in PDP, but now the governor is no longer in PDP. He has crossed over to APC. So we will have to wait and see which, moving forward, if it is the minister that will continue to nominate persons from Rivers State to the president. And here again, I want to be on record to say that the president really has to look at what is going on in Rivers State as a politician and make very critical decisions before we move forward. Now, coming to the appointments, you will also recall, I hope, that it was Amaechi, the governor at that time, who nominated Nyesom Wike, his chief of staff at that time, to President Goodluck Jonathan for the position of a Secretary of State to the Ministry, excuse me, the Ministry of Education.
Right.
Now, there was a time where you mentioned 𝐒𝐎𝐿, and I have to address that particular point. Now, I have always maintained that there is a dichotomy in Rivers State, a political sharing dichotomy in Rivers State we refer to as upland riverine dichotomy. Because when people talk about 𝐒𝐎𝐿, they have to know the story. The truth of the matter is that upland is made up of people who are in the upland. The upland has governed for 24 years, non-stop. And the riverine people, which are made up of 𝐒𝐎𝐿s, have not governed. And so this is the root of the crisis in Rivers State, no matter what, excuse me, no matter what anybody wants to say about it. And I want to point out that the 𝐒𝐎𝐿s are the fourth largest ethnic nationality in Nigeria until census says otherwise. That is the position. Now, in 2023, the FCT minister, the then governor, bought tickets for everybody, as he claims, and rightly so, because he did, from anybody who wanted a position of election. He claims he bought tickets for them. A young man, a riverine young man from Tombia, who wanted from Delga, from Degama local government area. His name is Farad Agogo, who also bought a ticket for himself, was thrown into jail and kept there until the processes were all over, and he is 𝐒𝐎𝐿. Now, at that time, in a church, the FCT minister in the program referred to 𝐒𝐎𝐿s and said, "Thunder fire 𝐒𝐎𝐿s," over the issue of our position of what was being done to an 𝐒𝐎𝐿 son. Now, I was listening to him interacting with media a few days ago, and I don't know who asked the question. I didn't hear the question, but I heard his answer. And he was screaming. He said, "Which 𝐒𝐎𝐿? Which 𝐒𝐎𝐿? Nonsense, which 𝐒𝐎𝐿?" I mean, see, if he says Rivers State belongs to all of us, he cannot, I use the word cannot, make statements, derogatory statements about 𝐒𝐎𝐿 people. And this is where I call again on the president to please listen. I don't usually use the word please a lot, but to please listen very carefully to what his minister says about the 𝐒𝐎𝐿 ethnic nationality and how he treats the 𝐒𝐎𝐿 ethnic nationality. It is not going to end well, but because the 𝐒𝐎𝐿s are not a people that lie down and play dead. They will not.
Right.
So now, talking on this instant, let me just land with it.
Okay.
On this instant, he has again referred to the 𝐒𝐎𝐿s as if they matter not, they don't have a stake, and that any stake that they have, that he is giving it to them on his benevolence. No, he is not. It is our right to have an 𝐒𝐎𝐿 son or daughter in the seat of power in Rivers State, just as it is the right of every other ethnic nationality. But right now, today, in 2026, it is our right. We intend to stay there. We intend to run again. And he keeps referring to heavens will not fall, heavens will not fall. Well, I mean, I fear God too much to say heavens will not fall, because if you're calling, evoking heavens to fall and that nothing will happen, you're calling on God. You're saying God will fall down to earth and nothing will happen. I'm appealing to the president. I'm appealing to the NSA to take note of, to use the word, we will take it by force. we will break it down. As a matter of fact, he said we will break it down. If that's not violence, if that's not threatening violence on a people, and this violence is being threatened on the Ijaws, it's not being threatened on Rivers, on other ethnic nationalities, because the governor is Ijaw, and the majority of his supporters, along with other ethnic nationalities, Ikweres, Ogonis, and everybody. But this particular attack is directed at the Ijaws, and there are Ijaws with him, and I caution the Ijaws with him as well. They should do politics, but not with our ethnic nationality.
Right, thank you. So let's go to our panelists now. Let me start off with Prof. Prof? Hello, Prof.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
It's very interesting the way Anka has interpreted what's going on in Rivers State. Because I've always wondered why we often interpret the relationship as if it's a relationship between two people. Because the dimension she's bringing now is to say that the governor, yes, is an individual, but it comes from a particular group that has been marginalized. And the group does not interpret the emergence of the governor as a favor from an individual to that group. They think, in fact, after 24 years of continuous rule by Upland, it is only fair that the riverine should take this position, and that since they are already there, they should allow peace to reign and enable them to enjoy the position for 2 terms. This is a very different dimension from looking at it from the perspective of a godson and a godfather. Is it always like this, or there's been a transition, especially given the fact that the governor has moved from the PDP to the APC?
Thank you.
Well, if you have taken on board what I have said, and thank you, because it seems like you have, which is to say that from 1999 to 2023, the Upland have governed. So yes, if we look at it from that angle, we can say that from 1999, the Ijaws have been marginalized. But I want to point something out. That the PDP in 1998-99, after Abacha died, that when PDP came to the South, the people that were in charge, if you like, of the PDP political party, that is the people who were held it in their hands to bring down to the South and manage the South and manage it, the Niger Delta region, were Ijaws, were mainly Ijaws, late Alabo Graham Douglas, late Harry Marshall, late Dikibo. And so when you look at it like that, you will then say to yourself that these Ijaws had these powers in their hands. They could have held on to it. They could have given it to themselves, but they didn't. They gave it to an Uplander in the person of Sir Dr. Peter Odili, who governed to 1999 to 2007. Now, if you consider that, then yes, the answer is we have always been marginalized, not because we're small by a very long shot. Don't believe the things that you hear because you hear them on television. The Okrikas, the Bonis, the Calabaris, the Opobos, some part of our Huda, all together, the Ijaws are mainly totally sharing no local government with any other persons in about 7 solid local government, and then in other areas. So we make up more, the Ijaws make up more of the 23 local governments, more of the 23 local government areas. And while the ethnic, the Upland make up less, because if we make all together, if you put them together, the Ijaws have about between, I think, because we're in other places where we share with other people, but solidly we're in about 9 local government areas. You cannot call a community or an ethnic nationality that has 4 local governments, cannot say, or 5, cannot say that there are more than a people in Rivers State that are holding down or are part of about 9 or 10 local government areas or more. Look, if we are not careful, Rivers State will be the center of where the crisis will be decided in 2027. When I say crisis, because I see crisis by what is being said and what is about to happen. When a minister of a state of Nigeria comes down to his state and begins to threaten the governor of that state, this is a threat to the governor of that state. It's a threat to the security of Rivers State. It's a threat to the ethnic nationality of the Ijos. The Ijos now are being threatened. When you say which Ijo, so you don't know Ijo people. Ijo people supported the former governor Nyesom Wike wholeheartedly, totally, absolutely. They had only the people dragging power with him had issues. And at the end of it, everybody succumbed for the sake of peace in Rivers State. But now what we are seeing is that we have a FCT minister, a son of Rivers State, and a handful of Ijos with him. Those Ijos with him, nobody's denying that they are Ijos, but they cannot claim, they cannot. If they claim that they can claim, let them dispute what I'm saying. Right. They cannot claim to be representing the whole of Ijo people in Rivers State. They are not. And they should be very careful, because Ijos do not forget, and we will not forget, that when it came right down to it, that a handful of Ijos were working with the minister who is determined to work against the return or even the peaceful governance of an Ijo son whom he claims to have nominated to Rivers people. Right. And we were happy that he had done that. But to turn around and now make us the underdogs when we are the largest ethnic nationality in Rivers State is not acceptable. It will not be acceptable. Please, I'm appealing to Nigerians, elder Nigerians, because this thing in Rivers State has too far. It had no other state. This cannot happen in any Yoruba state. This cannot happen in any northern state. Why is it happening in Rivers State? Why is this allowed?
Right. Let's go to yes. Let's go to Barrister now. Barrister.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much, Toba. Once again, let me welcome Anki. It's always a pleasure having you with us.
Thank
now,
you,
I am really confused. The Ijos are known to be very vigorous agitators. Many of them, retiring from militancy, have become recognized state actors, even attracting hundreds of billions of naira to themselves as vanguards of Nigeria's pipelines. How is it possible for a Wike to so subdue the jaws that we have always known, as it is currently playing out in Rivers? Is it that some of the jaws are complicit in this Wike drama in Rivers State?
All right. I suppose that's a question for me, yes?
Yes, that's a question. Yes.
Definitely, absolutely. And I think I have alluded to that, but I think I need to maybe perhaps clarify it a little bit more through my answer to your question. Definitely, you will see that is what is playing out. Because every time the minister is in town. The latest thing that the few Ijos that are with him, because anytime he's on the podium, it is the people on the podium with him. Ikore people are there, Ogoni people are there, Ijo people are there, Egi people are there, Ahuda people are there, Eleme people are there. Now, the Ijos, the few Ijos from, as an Ijo daughter, the few Ijos from my perspective, and one of my representative in the State House of Assembly is from my community. Now, they have resorted of late to wearing Ijo attire, as if wearing Ijo attire, tying wrapper and wearing coral beads and wearing bowler hat somehow justifies this abandonment of your roots, justifies this greed of political power. When it comes to politics in Ijo land, the people we have today as politicians representing us at the Senate level, at the House of Rep level, at the House of Assembly and the local government, they are not the best that we have. That is the truth. And I am one of those people who refuse to go into politics just for this simple reason. Now, coming to the era of agitators, I called them at that time armed agitators. Now, coming to the era of the past armed agitators for justice and equity across the Niger Delta for our resources, which we are still demanding, some people, some of those young men at that time, they are now in their 50s. Some of them, whom I refer to as my sons, and they are because I'm older by 20 years to most of them. I'm older than them. So I used to refer to them as my sons. Now, when I look at that, Tompolo is registered a business and got awarded a contract like everybody else in Nigeria. So if he's running his business, I cannot fault him for running his business. Everybody has to put food on their table. Now, if we're looking at it from the perspective of a 50-year-old Tompolo or a 50-year-old Ateke or something like that, to still come back and maybe be part of this agitation, it is their choice if they want to do so, or it is their choice if they want to go into business. And literally, that was what we negotiated, because I was part of that negotiation when Yaradua was alive. These were the things we negotiated for them to lay down their arms, that they must have something to do. What will they do? What they will do is to go into business. And they're in business. Dangote has built a refinery. He doesn't own oil, but he's built a refinery. The oil is coming from the Niger Delta. So if tomorrow Tompolo builds a refinery, it is right that he should build a refinery. If tomorrow I get allocated oil wells, I apply for it and I get allocated, it should be the right thing to do, because there is a lady who is not from my region who or my community who is dealing oil. So when you look at it from that perspective, I don't think that because the ex-agitators are not involved in this fight makes it less of an urgency, or makes it less of a demand because they are not involved in it. You know, people like me are still involved in it. And I started, I mean, I was with them. I was part of that struggle. I carry arms, but my mouth is my arm up till today and up till tomorrow. So the point I'm trying to make is that because they are not in it, does not make it any less serious to the president. And I think perhaps the president and the national security advisor are making mistake in that direction. To think that just because it is presumed that people, the ex-agitators are no longer agitating presently, that somehow means that there are no longer any crop of youths that can agitate in the Niger Delta, or even in Ijaw land, restricting ourselves to Ijaw land. Bayelsa is Ijaw, Rivers State is majorly Ijaw, Delta has Ijaw, Edo State has Ijaw, Akwa Ibom has Ijaw. So when you look at these major oil producing states, the major stakeholders, the majority, the people, the ethnic nationality that is more than any other ethnic nationality in the Niger Delta. And I don't mean this in any way to disrespect any ethnic nationality, because I fight for all. But the truth remains the truth, which is the fact that we are the largest ethnic nationality in the fourth largest in Nigeria, and definitely we are the largest ethnic nationality in Niger Delta, irrespective of what anybody will tell the president. If we have a census, actually, if anybody has a need to call for a census of Nigeria, as part of our demands in this 2027 election, it will be that there must be an election in 2027. We cannot, we cannot continue in Nigeria without having a census, so that we can know exactly how many people were governed.
Right.
Please, permit me to quickly ask
𝐂𝐿
this question.
Yes, sir.
𝐂𝐿,
yes, sir.
Can we ever be rid of ethnic politics, both at state and national level? I mean, can we ever attain that level when meritocracy, pragmatism, and honesty is the only qualities we look for in people, rather than their ethnicity, their religion, or who you know, and those other parochial considerations?
Well, sir, unfortunately, and I want to believe without you saying so, and correct me, because I'm assuming by the respect I have for you and your knowledge, that the answer to that question ought to be no. Then how can we get rid of politics of ethnicity when we have not moved forward or outside of actually doing politics that serves the people? Politics is about service to the people. Politics is not about greed. Politics is not about how many cars, how many exotic cars you can drive. It's not about how many private jets you can fly. It is about the people that you claim to be representing. The women in my community mainly pick periwinkle in the swamps, ngolo in the swamps, songu, the fishermen, and farmers. Now, these are the people that hold up our communities. Now, if you are not representing those people, who are you representing? Are you representing an Ijaw man or an Ikwere man that has a small business in oil? Or are you representing yourself to make sure that you get an appointment in NNPC, in downstream, upstream? No. When you are there, you're supposed to do your job, so that your people benefit. The state assembly members that we're talking about, it is rumored that they collected 350 million naira for their constituents' project, and that they also collected brand new latest whatever car that they collected. So now, if that is the case, Rivers people are asking, where is the project? And don't forget, this was given to them between the time that, as far as I'm concerned, IBAS was brought, a foreigner, a stranger, was brought in to come and oversee the resources of Rivers State, not the safety of Rivers State, not the unity of Rivers State, but the money that is allocated to Rivers State within that 6 months in which he came. And so I don't see why we should not understand and appreciate the fact that Rivers State is very much like the country Nigeria. Can we ever get rid of ethnic politics when it comes to the presidency? No, we cannot. We cannot get rid of it. Can we get rid of ethnic appointments at federal level? No, we cannot. So if we can't do it in Nigeria as a country that has over 350 ethnic nationalities and different religion and culture and everything, I see no reason why it should be an issue to resolving the crisis in Rivers State that was created along the lines of ethnic nationalities.
Yeah.
That a group can serve Rivers State for 24 years back to back, non-stop. And when one Ijaw man, one riverine man comes to be the governor in 2023, in May, from October, it exploded. So it means that the crisis was already silently ongoing until it exploded into the scenes of the streets and the understanding of Rivers people before Nigerians got to understand truthfully what is it. You know, the FCT minister keeps talking about agreement. He keeps talking about agreement.
Yes.
Has he ever told Nigeria and Nigerians and the media people that gather every time, has he ever told them what that agreement? You cannot shave a man's head, let alone the head of a state, behind their back or when they are sleeping and say you're a leader.
Right. Thank you, Ankyo. You've made very interesting point, and you've also let us understand in broader context the issues in Rivers State. I just want to ask you, but the point you made about ethnicity, it looks like it's our reality, you know, in Nigeria, because there's hardly any state you get to where a certain tribe or ethnic group does not feel marginalized. It's happening here in your state as well. There are those from 𝐷𝐿 and the likes asking to be given the chance to be governor. If you go to Ogun State as well, there are those in Ijebu and all of that. You know, there are several cases like that across different states in Nigeria. That's on one side. The other question I want to ask you is, you know, are you saying that this crisis would not have unfolded, hypothetically speaking, if Similai Fubara were not an Ijaw man? If he wasn't an Ijaw man, maybe Governor Nyesom Wike would not have had any problem with him, because those in Wike camp are not talking about ethnicity. They are saying, as Wike will always think, agreement is agreement. I don't know the kind of agreement that they had. I don't know whatever played out in the kind of relationship they had prior to the time he won the election. And even when he won the election, we saw both of them celebrating together. So are you saying that if he's not an Ijaw man, this would not have unfolded or exploded into a full-blown crisis that we've been talking about for almost 3 years now since he became governor?
Hello?
Yeah. I don't know if you got the question.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
No, not all of you.
Okay, so what I'm asking,
I can hear you, but
yes,
it was breaking.
Okay, well, let me just summarize. What I'm asking is, you've put everything in a broader context of a job being marginalized in Rivers State. So, are you saying that if Similai Fubara had come from another nationality aside an Ijaw nationality, this crisis would not have escalated in Rivers State the way it did? It looks like the only problem we are seeing here is because he's an Ijaw man. That's why he's being harassed by the other ethnic group led by Governor Nyesom Wike.
He's not only being harassed as a governor in the riverine area. He's being obstructed. He's being undermined, even by the state assembly, the so-called state assembly members. Every single day undermining his authority, disrespecting the seat of power in Rivers State. And you see, like, God forbid, but let us assume that I paint this scenario for you. If Fubara is no longer the governor and his deputy have gone, who is going to be the governor. And the lawyer and the political professor may be able to help if I am wrong in any of my projections here. But if that happens, then the Speaker of the House becomes the governor. Now, that is what we understand, the ordinary Nigerian. Now, if that be the case, the Speaker of the House quite right, you can see what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So if the idea is that FOBRA should go, who's going to come? Is an Ikwere man. And so does everybody in Nigeria, does the president, does the NSA, do they all believe that the Ijaws will roll over and play dead? As it was quite pointed out, like in almost in disappointment, and I don't disagree with that the Ijaws are known for fighting for justice and equity. We showed our capacity. We have shown our capacity. And if at this point we have decided for whatever reason that this is not the time, and we keep insisting that we can talk ourselves out of this crisis, if we are insisting and all we are being confronted with is disadvantages, all we're being confronted with is a threat of violence, there is so far you can push somebody into the wall. If FOBRA had joined the APC immediately, he became the governor, you could have blamed him, you could have criticized him. But now he had gone to join the APC, the last man standing for the PDP that failed him and failed him woefully. Maybe they had no choice because they were being remote controlled. As far as I'm concerned, the PDP lost the South long before this time. So if the PDP finds itself in that position where Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State is the only person standing, why should Rivers State be sacrificed for the PDP political party that is not prepared to make any sacrifice for our state? And so if he has crossed over because, and we support that crossover because we believe, along with the governor, that perhaps that's the only way peace is going to come. You know, I remember Fubara saying a long time ago that he is prepared for peace at all cost. And I remember at that time responding to that statement as by saying he is on his own by that statement, because he cannot say that he wants peace by all means. What is that means? What's the sacrifice he is bringing back to Rivers State? What's happening in Rivers State?
Anke, so sorry to come in here. He has crossed over, but it looks like crossing over has not even solved the problem, because the crisis keeps escalating. You know, there's the impeachment saga there. There's the crisis over who's the leader of the APC in the states. You know, all of these issues. So, I mean, what's your reading of the political calculation of Governor Fubara himself? Because there are those who have tried to understand him as a politician. Some say, well, maybe he's not born for this kind of politics in Nigeria, that you have to have a bit of a dynamism to yourself, understanding the game, knowing how to play the game. And if you're going up against an enemy, you should be ready for what comes next. So there are those who say he doesn't have what it takes to play the kind of politics, that's being played. That's why it looks like he's losing out in all of this, despite him crossing over to the ruling party.
See, I don't look at it like that. Nobody is born a murderer. But it's a choice anybody chooses to apply. That's the way. That's my philosophy in life. Now, looking at Governor Siminalayi Fubara, if you remember that Siminalayi Fubara kept saying, he called him his father, he called him his this. I even oppose the issue of godfatherism in any level of politics in Nigeria, not even in River, in Nigeria as a whole. We don't need them. They have their own children. What do they mean somebody is their godson? when they finish their political playing, their political service, they should go and do something else, not sit down and tell the governor what he can or cannot do. Now, I do not believe that all of these things is similar Efubra's fault. I do not believe so. First of all, tell us the agreement, why you are fighting your people in the manner in which you are fighting him. This is not politics. That's number one. Number two, the fact that Fubra is so far, he has obeyed every single thing the president has asked him to obey. He has done it. And yet they are the people fighting him, the state assembly members, the supporters, and the elders that are with the former governor and the former governor, my brother himself, are all conniving to remove Similaye Fubra because he is not seemingly doing what is expected of him. Now, what is that thing expected of him? We Rivers people are happy with him. He's making progress. He's doing things. There are roads that he is he's put in place and he has to finish them. There are structures he's put in place, education, housing, so many things that they've refused him to continue. So I do not believe that you have to you have to be like the devil, if you like. This is not his style of politics. I give that to him. But again, this style of politics is wrong style of politics. So as a matter of fact, if he refuses to play this style of politics, he's a better politician than all of them. But you see, I want the president, because this is about really and truly, the president has not been fair to the people of Rivers State. You know, telling us that he suspended the governor because he wanted to save him and will not ask the man Ibas to account to Rivers people what he did with our 6 months allocation. It's not doing anything for the people of Rivers State. We suffered. So I do not agree that Fubra, to be governor, has to play dirty politics for him to govern the state. So I will blame him for fighting to survive to the best of his capacity while trying to keep the state safe. That's what he's doing. He's counting to us.
Right. Thank you. So let me quickly introduce the guest for the second segment of the show, by Mr. Alekan Ojo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. Please stay on the line, sir, as we wrap up the conversation with Anchor Briggs. Then we'll come back to you. Thank you so much, sir. Please stay on the line, sir. We'll come to you in a moment. So let me go to Prof. Final round of questions and comment for Anchor Briggs as we wrap up the conversation with her, and then we'll proceed to Lekan Ojo SAN. Prof?
Yes, I have this very straightforward question.
Yes.
What is your opinion, Uncle? If, for instance, YUSUF was not Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and he was just a former governor residing in Rivers State, would he have been able to exercise the kind of power and influence over the current political situation in Rivers State? Because it seems that the other governors, I mean, look at Kanu, for instance, with the closeness between 𝐃𝐈𝐒 and YUSUF. YUSUF was still able to declare to go to APC without the approval of 𝐃𝐈𝐒, and we don't have the kind of drama that we are seeing. I have this question, whether if YUSUF was not Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, would he be able to wield the kind of power and influence in Rivers State to the point that he's putting the governor to such very difficult situation?
Quite honestly, the answer is no. But having said the answer is no, we must not run away. I must not run away from taking it further to say that, again, the person who is as responsible for all these shenanigans that is going on in Rivers State, the person who is responsible is the leader of the country we call Nigeria, the president, and also the national security advisor should by now know the type of state Rivers State is, and that no matter what, the former governor, who is a PDP member, should not be able to terrorize a governor of APC. But he tried it in Imo State. He has tried it in Edo State. He has tried it even in one of the Yoruba states, I think. So the point I'm trying to make is that if the president takes the responsibility that is his and his alone to take, that he has somebody in his cabinet who is not a member of his party, but is terrorizing a governor that can work to deliver him. Look, last week on Friday, the FCT minister was in Port Harcourt launching and inaugurating members of and leaders from the local government wards and everything done with cars, with money, and with the threat against the state to destabilize the state. That threat, the NSA must know that threat is to destabilize the state. And the president must ask himself, and the NSA must ask himself, is this in the interest of the president? Because I can assure you that if things continue like this until 2027 election, and Rivers people are put through this, and we're hungry, and we cannot find food to eat or pay our bills, I'm telling you that openly, nobody will vote for the president.
Right.
If you're going to remove the governor of a state, and you think you're going to win election in that state, if the president had wanted to remove, if Buhari had wanted to remove Wike, he would have removed Wike, but he knew that he couldn't. So what is happening is not in the interest of the president. It will work against him. It doesn't matter that all the Niger Delta governors are with him. If he allows anything to destabilize the states that have crossed over to him, it will affect who will it affect? It cannot affect 𝐷𝐿, not a politician. It is the governor the president that will lose the election in those states, unless, of course, they do the mago that they used to. But if they want Rivers people to accept what happened in 2023 to happen again in Rivers State, in Niger Delta, and accept that, yes, we voted for the president, then this is not the way to go about it. He cannot allow the FCT minister to completely disrespect ethnic nationality like Edo, completely disregard the totality of Rivers State and say that heavens will not fall and that it is no Wike, no Rivers State. You might as well say no Fobra, no Rivers State, no 𝐷𝐿, no Rivers State. You can't talk like that.
Right.
The state doesn't belong to you.
Right. Thank you, 𝐷𝐿. Okay, Barrister Ognola, final comment as we wrap up the conversation with 𝐷𝐿.
Yes. Thank you very much, Toba. 𝐷𝐿,
yes,
I commend you for your efforts in the Rivers debacle. I just want to ask, what can we do to achieve statics, or should I say equilibrium in the politics of Rivers?
𝐷𝐿?
I didn't hear him well.
Okay, he's asking what can we do to achieve, equilibrium in Rivers to solve the problem, going forward. Very quickly as we wrap up.
Yes. Very simply and very quickly, the president and well-meaning Nigerians who know that this is wrong, from the legal aspect, it is wrong. From the justice aspect, it is wrong. From the political aspect, it is wrong. From anywhere you look at it, what is going on in Rivers State is unacceptable. It's what Trump is doing in his country to a certain state or states. That's exactly what is happening. So the only way to solve this problem is for the president to insist, the same way he made FOBRA sign the 8-point or 9-point or whatever agreement as far back as 1.5 years ago, is the same stance he should take. He should tell his minister, you either face what I appointed you to face, or you leave it and go and do what you think you can do. And even now, it is illegal. What is happening in Rivers State is dangerous, is a threat to life and to property, because there are some people who will take opportunity of the violence that is being insinuated and threatened. And when you speak like the former governor, you are threatening violence. Right. And so the security system should be concerned, because you can't blame people if they now say, okay, bring it on, which is where this thing is heading.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Secretly, people are expecting FOBRA to do the same. Well, I can assure you, without his permission, that FOBRA is not that type of a person. So if they are expecting that FOBRA will become violent or expect people to go and blow up pipelines and do all kinds of things, you can't blame FOBRA if people blow up pipelines. Right. You cannot blame FOBRA if people react violently, because he's not a violent man and he will not instigate violence.
Right. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Wicked.
Right. Thank you so much, Anke Briggs. It looks like all of this hangs on the president to solve the crisis. Everything hangs on the president. Thank you, Anke Briggs, for being a part. Yes, thank you so much. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. Anke Briggs joined us on the podium this morning. She's an environmental activist and a stakeholder in Rivers State. We've been reviewing the current crisis in the state. Thank you so much. All right. As we end the conversation with Anke Briggs, let's quickly welcome again a senior advocate of Nigeria, Olalekun Ojo, joins us on the podium this morning. Good morning, sir. Great to have you.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, and Professor Yomi Ayede, Department of Political Science, University of Ibadan, is here with us, and Barrister Yomi Ogunala is also here with us as well. They are panelists. They will be asking you questions and making comments as the conversation progresses. Senior Advocate, there's a lot to unpack, really. Looking at the state of the polity as we prepare for 2027, state of our democracy as well. But one of the issues that caught my attention the course of the week is the final confirmation after months of denial from the military about an alleged coup plot that played out a few months ago. In fact, the Premium Times did an exclusive report about it, talking about how certain groups had planned to scuttle the inauguration of President Bola Tinubu in May 2023. They even listed the names of the officers, and there are reports that these officers are going to be tried. And the last time I read about or heard about something like this was, it happened during the military regime where those who planned a coup were tried by special military tribunal. I just want to ask you, legally speaking, what's the provision of the law in a democracy when something like this plays out, because under the military regime, it's either you succeed in a coup, or if you don't succeed, you pay for it. In most cases, we've seen, an execution of those behind a plan to take over a military government. Can you hear me, sir?
I can hear you, sir.
Yes. So what's the provision of the law in a democracy when something like this plays out?
Well, thank you very much. Two legal issues arise for consideration. The first one is this: members of the armed forces are first and foremost subject to military law. Some people call it service law. That is the Armed Forces Act, Laws of the Federation 2004. However, there is the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. Clearly, Section 251 of the 1999 Constitution as amended makes it extremely clear that acts of treason or treasonable felony, these are acts that are targeted at either assassinating or attempting to assassinate or taking over or attempt to take over government in an unconstitutional manner. All these will qualify as treason or treasonable felony under the Constitution. And the Constitution, which is the supreme law of the land, has said that such actions, such alleged crimes, must be tried. Indeed, can only be tried by the Federal High Court. You will recall, during the Shagari, that was in 1983, you recall the case of Mandara against the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It was FRM versus Federal Republic of Nigeria. It was the appeal that you had it as Mandara versus FRM. It was a case of alleged attempts to truncate the democratic process under the then President Shehu Shagari. The case was tried at the Federal High Court. Unfortunately, under the then legal regime, legal dispensation, the Federal High Court, because treasonable felony are offenses under the Criminal Code, and you may just forget that one.
Hello, senior advocate. Can you hear me?
Okay. To try. Oh my God.
Hello, can you hear me? Looks like
I can hear you.
Okay, the line sort of disconnected when you were making that point. If you could just.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I was talking about the case of Mandara.
Yes.
Alhaji Mandara.
Yes, you were.
So under the then legal regime, the Federal High Court should not have jurisdiction to try any case of treason or treasonable felony. And that was what led to the constitutional amendment. So that is why in section 251 of the Constitution now, 1999 as amended, the Federal High Court is vested with jurisdiction. So what that means is that the provisions of the Constitution prevail over the provisions of the Armed Forces Act. And in any event, even during the during the regime of Obasanjo, you will remember too, when there was what was tagged an alleged security breach involving Major Hamza and Mustafa, one Brigadier Adeka. They were arraigned and tried before the Federal High Court holding at Lagos. So it is not a matter under the present legal dispensation. Such attempted coup or whatever must be tried by the Federal High Court because the Constitution prevails over the provisions of the Armed Forces Act.
Right. Thank you for breaking it down for us. I just want to ask you, because we're going on a break very, very quickly now, very shortly. What do you make of this attempt? Because there were a series of denials from the military headquarters at the time. The story broke. Eventually, they admitted, and the Premium Times, as I mentioned, also did a full exclusive report talking about how those behind it wanted to scuttle the transition of power from the Buhari government to the Tinubu government, which should have been a huge deviation from the current seamless transition of power in our current democracy. So what do you make of it, the audacity of wanting to plan that on that huge day in Nigeria's political history?
Honestly speaking, you have captured it well. The alleged coupists must have been extremely audacious, because I do not think the Nigerian political system as of today can welcome
Senior Advocate, please hold that thought, sir. As I said, we are due for a break. Please hold that thought. I will come back very shortly to continue the conversation. Just stay with us. The Podium will be back in a moment.
Is a choice that we want you to make always. Choose to be happy. Choose 32 FM 94.9 Ibadan.
Every meal I cook must taste just right. Rich, delicious, full of love.
We hear you. Your Maggie Star in double cubes. Double the flavor, double the convenience. The same trusted taste you love. Maggie Star Double Cubes, made from fermented soya and other selected ingredients for that deep flavor and quality that only Maggie brings to your dishes.
Absolutely delicious.
Get Maggie Double Cubes today. Me and Maggie, so good together.
Everywhere they play my music.
Ǹjẹ́ ìwọ ń wá ibi tó ti ra ojúlówó power bank àti phone accessories lónìí rọ̀rùn? Àbí London used phone ni wọ́n fẹ́ ni? Iléeṣẹ́ Real Phone Repair and Unlock Services níbi tí wọ́n ti ń ta ojúlówó phone accessories látòrí protective cases and cover, screen protectors, essential for your phone safety, chargers and charging cables, portable power banks, high capacity power bank, wireless earbuds and headphones, tempered glasses, Bluetooth earbuds, camera lenses, tripods, selfie stick among others. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọ́n tún ta London used phones lónìí rọ̀rùn látòrí Android títí dórí iPhones bẹ́ẹ̀ bá ṣe fẹ́ sí. Iléeṣẹ́ Real Phones Repair and Unlock Services wà ní number 31C Nipos Shopping Complex ní ìdojúkọ Cocoa House. Gẹ́lẹ́kẹ̀ tó wọlé láti kàn wọ́n lẹ́nu géètì. Tí ẹ bá tó wọlé tán, a ó tún kàn wọ́n kúgú lápá ọ̀tún yín. A tún wà ní Mọ́kọ́lá, tún wá gbọ́ ò. Bó ṣe ń bá wọn rajà ni o tún ní àǹfààní sí àwọn ẹ̀bùn bíi screen guard méjì, data cable àti data subscription. Ẹ pè iléeṣẹ́ Real Phones sórí 0706 436 8169. Real Phones Repair and Unlock Services. Ojútùú sí gbogbo ìpèníjà fóònù rẹ.
ẹ̀dá tá à ń bá rìn táyé yẹn ni tá a bá gbúrò ẹsẹ̀ mọ́ ó yẹ ká béèrè ẹ̀ wo ó túmọ̀ sí wípé ọwọ́ wa wẹwọ́ dáadáa ni a ò wá gbọ́dọ̀ gbé ìgbésẹ̀ kan lẹ́yìn ẹ̀yìn ara wa láṣẹ ní ká fi tó yín létí lórí ìkànnì yìí wípé àyípadà yóò dé bá àwọn ètò wa kan àkọ́kọ́ irú ètò bẹ́ẹ̀ ó náà ni bàbá vendor aago 7 òwúrọ̀ náà ni yóò máa bẹ̀rẹ̀ tí yóò sì máa parí láago 9 kọjá ìṣẹ́jú 15 ètò tuntun lórí ìkànnì yìí ni ẹ pàdé dókítà pẹ̀lú Olúbímpé Fátóyè ní gbogbo ọjọ́rú ọ̀sẹ̀ láàrin aago 1 sí aago 2 ìròyìn kàyéfì náà tó ti wẹ̀wù ọ̀tun ọjọ́ Monday àti Tuesday nìkan ni yóò máa wáyé pẹ̀lú tọkọtaya lórí afẹ́fẹ́ mọ́ bíi pé àti àfa làǹbòròkì láàrin aago 1 sí aago 2 bákan náà ètò àgbọ́jẹ̀bù fami àti ẹ̀mọ̀ bí ẹni mowó ni sáré budọ́ ti wá lé ọjọ́ kan sí bẹ̀rẹ̀ láti ọjọ́ ajé títí di ọjọ́rú ọ̀sẹ̀ láago 12 kọjá 20 ìṣẹ́jú sí aago 1 ọ̀sán ètò tó ń sọ nípa eré àgbéléwò wa gbogbo sinimá náà tó ti wẹ̀wù ọ̀tun ó ti di aago 1 sí aago 2 ní gbogbo ọjọ́ Friday iye orí gbogbo ẹ̀wẹ̀ pátá òun náà ni ètò tuntun tí a pè ní èyí tó ga pẹ̀lú Usman Haruna láàrin aago 9 sí aago 10 àṣálẹ́ ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ajé ọ̀sẹ̀ orí tá a fi ṣèwé kò kúrò lọ́rùn ló fa àkọ́tún ètò eléyìí tẹ́ máa gbọ́ lórí ìkànnì tá a pè ní sàgbàdéwé pẹ̀lú Adémọ́lá Adéjùmọ̀ bá a mọ̀ tán lọ́wọ́ aago 8 àṣálẹ́ sí 9 àbọ̀ aṣàdànù sí nínú ètò wa kankan kìkìdá kí ẹ gbé rédíò yín sí 94.9 kí ẹ lè jẹ̀gbáládùn rédíò dáadáa.
Start your day and have a good time.
Kivo Creamer.
And where you need to have the break time.
Kivo Creamer.
If not tea, Papa Garita.
Kivo Creamer. Kivo Creamer.
mọ́mí gbé o àkórí ìròyìn àkọ́kọ́ tí wọ́n kọ́kọ́ mú ní tòní òun ni ti ọkọ ìyàwó tó fi ìyá ìyàwó ẹ̀ lánàá lálẹ́ ẹjọ́ kó máa kọ́ bí wọn.
Lamborokyo Lambo Nation kàyéfì níròyìn jẹ́ fóun eégún ká ara mẹ́rìírí o mo lórí ajiyàn lórí àtẹ Lambo Nation ìyàwó lọ́mọ tí kọ́kọ́ rẹ̀ pa nítorí pé fọ́tò ìyá rẹ̀ òun ló gbé sójú fóònù.
tá a bá wá dénú kàyéfì ó tu kàyéfì rẹ̀.
ọjọ́ ajé àti ọjọ́ ìṣẹ́gun lọ́sọ̀ọ̀sẹ̀ lẹ́wọ̀n máa jẹ̀gbádùn kàyéfì báyìí pẹ̀lú
Olúbímpé Fátóyè
àti Làǹbòròkì láàrin aago 1 sí 2 ọ̀sán.
ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ ti gbẹ́wò ọ̀tún wọ̀.
Win from over 80 million naira in cash and exciting prizes in the Golden Hunt promo.
This promo, there's no need for advert anymore.
Because
my mom alone can hunt down any gist. How much more 80 million naira in prizes with the whole family involved?
Naija, let the Golden Hunt begin. Just buy any Golden Mon Golden Hunt 30 gram or 45 gram promo pack. Look inside for a unique code and dial *8011 *1# for a chance to win big. Promo ends April 15, 2026. Golden Morn. Make every day golden.
Mariaba lawan salam, Mariaba lawan masala oṣù ìkẹ́dẹ́ Ramadan.
ahlan wa sahlan famarhaba ya 𝐃𝐈𝐒 𝐿 oṣù ìbùkún oṣù àforíjìn oṣù Ramadan máa wulẹ̀ máa rọra oṣù tí Ọlọ́run Ọba Allah sọ wípé gbogbo ẹni bá ṣe dáadáa kan níbẹ̀ òun yóò san ní ẹ̀san lọ́pọ̀ nínú iṣẹ́ ládá tí ẹ̀dá tún lè ṣe tí ládá ẹ̀dá ó tún fi tẹ̀sùn lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run Ọba Allah ó ní kí ẹ̀dá ó máa ná nínú tí Ọlọ́run fún lóore sójú ọ̀nà tọlọ́run kí ládá tèmi tìrẹ lè tún tẹ̀sùn lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run Ọba Allah pàtàkì jùlọ nínú oṣù Ramadan ìdí nìyí tí ìkànnì 32 FM 94.9 tá a kalẹ̀ ká sájà kan kókó ọ̀zùgbẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Ìbàdàn fi ṣe àgbékalẹ̀ àwọn ètò ọlọ́kùn òjọ̀kan tí a lè ṣe onígbọ̀wọ́ rẹ̀ nínú oṣù Ramadan yìí láti jẹ́ kí ládá tiwa náà tún kún kẹ́kẹ́ lọ́dọ̀ Ọlọ́run Ọba àwọn ètò tí a lè ṣe onígbọ̀wọ́ rẹ̀ bíi wáàsí ọlọ́gbọ̀n ìṣẹ́jú oníṣẹ́jú mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dógún oníṣẹ́jú mẹ́wàá àti oníṣẹ́jú márùn-ún bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni ìrun pípè lọ́lọ́kan òjọ̀kan àti àwọn ètò kíni àti ètò ìpolówó ọjà lówó tí ò ga jara lọ fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé ẹ̀lọ́ àlì ní 081 43 38 0224 Yusuf 080 53 56 11 31 Ramadan ọdún yìí kò ní jẹ́ àṣemọ fún wa o Allahumma àmín.
àwẹ̀ tí tún dòde oṣù Ramadan mọ̀rí apá.
Every meal I cook must taste just right. Rich, delicious, full of love.
We hear you. Your Maggie Star in double cubes. Double the flavor, double the convenience. The same trusted taste you love. Maggie Star Double Cubes. Made from fermented soya and other selected ingredients for that deep flavor and quality that only Maggie brings to your dishes.
Absolutely delicious.
Get Maggie Double Cubes today. Me and Maggie, so good together.
32 FM
94.9.
Welcome back. The Podium on 32 FM 94.9. Our guest this morning, if you're just joining us, is 𝐿𝐿𝐿 Ojo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, SCN. Thank you for staying up with us, Senior Advocate. Before that break, we're talking about the audacity of those behind this alleged coup plot.
Well, I agree with you and with many Nigerians that you see, as of today, there is, as far as the law is concerned, there are allegations. So I would prefer to say that the alleged culprits must have been extremely and recklessly audacious, because it ought to have occurred to anybody that the state of the Nigerian politics as of today is not one that can accommodate any unconstitutional takeover of the government of Nigeria. But at the same time, you must remember one thing: in both politics and law, it is only a failed coup attempt that is a crime. A successful coup is never a crime. Because once it succeeds and there is legitimacy, nobody can question them or try them.
Definitely. All right. Okay, let me go to Barrister Ogunlola now. Barrister, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you very much. And let me seize the opportunity to welcome the learned silk, Akoniwaju Adajo,
thank you, sir,
to the program.
Thank you.
Learned silk, I cannot fault your reasoning on the appropriate forum for the trial of treasonable felony. As a matter of fact, the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, as amended, particularly Section 1, subsection 3 thereof, says the Constitution of the country shall be supreme, and if any other law is inconsistent with the provision of the Constitution shall prevail, and that other law shall to the extent of its inconsistency, be void. As the court pleases, my lord. Now, what I want clarity on is if the Federal High Court assumes jurisdiction as prescribed by the Constitution, will it be the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation that will prosecute, or the military?
Well, that's a very good question. It is also very amenable to a very easy answer. By virtue, of course, if they were to be prosecuted, charged under the Armed Forces Act, it is the Chief of Army Staff that would have constituted the necessary court martial for their trial. In which case, the prosecution will be done by the Chief of Army Staff. Indeed, it will be Nigeria Army complainant against the alleged coupists. But the Constitution, as we have rightly said, has also stipulated in Section 174 thereof the powers of the Attorney General of the Federation. Very, very awesome powers. So the Constitution gives the Attorney General of the Federation the prosecutorial powers in respect of any crime or offense charged under any act of the National Assembly or any act that is deemed to have been made by the National Assembly, and of course, any offense created by the Constitution. You now have a case where it's as if the Constitution has even created the offense. But I remember in the case of FRM versus Mustafa, where I had the privilege of appearing for the first defendant then, the offenses were alleged, they can't. Are you with me, sir?
Yes, we're with you, sir. We're with you.
The counts were laid under relevant provisions, I think 51 of the Criminal Code, and also the prosecution was by the Attorney General, Office of the Attorney General of the Federation. Interestingly, then, sir, I recall, it is the prosecution was farmed out to this same our Prince 𝐿 It was Prince 𝐿 that was hired by the Obasanjo government to do the prosecution. What am I trying to say is that the prosecutorial powers of the Attorney General of the Federation will apply to make that office the appropriate office to prosecute such crimes.
Right. Thank you, senior advocates. Let's go to Prof now. Prof?
Yes, so this, coup plots are a very difficult issue because they're kind of conspiracy. And before we come to civilian rule, there was this whole idea of phantom coup.
Yes.
Even the way that the news, filtered into the public layer, and then now the whole claim about that there really was a coup or not. The way the news has filtered out, and the claim that it's something that has to do even with the swearing-in ceremony of President Tinubu and so on. Does it really look like something real? Or is it just an expression of frustration with the hierarchy of the military? Is it really political? What can you make out of the facts that are in the public layer now, especially now that since the prosecution has not commenced?
Is that a question for me, Prof?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yeah. Well, honestly speaking, Prof, you see, there is what is called or referred to as information management. Information management is a very sensitive and a serious issue. Every government will try to manage information with wisdom. So when that denial, then, with all due respect, must have been necessitated by the diplomatic need to manage the information available then. So it was better for the government to have said there was no coup attempt. Pending the time, preliminary investigations will reveal what really happened. Because for the government to have admitted then that there was a coup, that might have sent very wrong signals to a sizable portion of the Nigerian populace. You see, whether it succeeds or not, every coup attempt is an expression of some form of dissatisfaction with the status quo. And that is not good. It is not good. And in the case of Nigeria, it is public knowledge that many Nigerians, indeed, a few weeks ago, we were told that 61% of the Nigerian population are multidimensionally poor. And that translates to about 141 million Nigerians. So now say that there was a coup attempt. That would have been a validation of what most Nigerians were passing through. But speaking for myself, I may be wrong. I still do not think or believe that a coup is the solution to the problems Nigerians are facing at the moment.
Right.
So I agree that it was a demonstration of political wisdom to have managed that information the way it was managed. Now that preliminary investigations have shown at least what I can call prima facie evidence, then it can now be released into the public domain the way they have done.
Yes, thank you, Senior Advocate. So one of the things I remember shortly after the 2023 election, and I think before the swearing ceremony, was that there were groups of people who were protesting. It made the news at the time, going to the DHQ office, asking the military to take over. So some say the fact that this happened before or was planned for an inauguration means that we cannot separate it from the resentment that grew across the country, especially after the 2023 election results were declared. Don't forget that there were those who felt disgruntled with the way things panned out, the failure of the IRF portal and all of that. So I just want to ask you, yes, I just want to ask you, whether or not you think there's a connection in there between the level of resentment that trailed the 2023 elections, those who feel aggrieved, who genuinely felt like their candidate won that election and were, asking for the military at the time, protesting in front of the DHQ office to come and take over the country. There's a connection there. That's one. Number two, you talked about factors that, allow these kinds of things to happen. So to what extent do you think fair and fair elections are very important in deterring, people from yearning for a military takeover?
Thank you very much. The reasons that may have triggered any attempt for an unconstitutional takeover are multifaceted. They are multifaceted. But we must remember, the alleged coupists, at least 90% of them are members of the armed forces.
Yes.
So I do not think, and I'm not prepared to speculate, that there are some members of the public who are disgruntled that would have consciously or unconsciously influenced the decision of these alleged coupists to take over the government. I do not think so. But whatever, don't forget, those who attempt to do so always leverage on what is going on or what they perceive is going on in the country, which they regard as evidence of political disenchantment with the government of the day. They always leverage on that. So even when that might not be the proximate cause, there is a nexus between or there will always be a nexus between the prevailing economic situations in the country or in any country and the penchant of some people to attempt to possibly take over the government of any country. Now, to the last question or the next question, all these things show that those in charge of the conduct of elections in Nigeria must leave no stone unturned to ensure the credibility of every election, particularly the election into the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The moment there are justifiable reasons, there are justifiable complaints, there will be disenchantment. People will not be happy. People will believe that the election does not reflect the will of the voters. And that is always the beginning of political disenchantment. Most importantly, too, and this is a very serious matter, the judiciary that has the final say on the result of any election must be alive to its responsibility when handling electoral petitions. But we must also not forget that the judiciary, the Supreme Court in this case, can only apply the law as it is. We must appreciate that the Supreme Court, or indeed any court of the land, can only apply the law as it is, not the law as it ought to be.
Right.
So what I was trying to say is that the National Assembly must expedite action on the necessary amendment to the Electoral Act to make provisions for electronic transmission of results and put in place other sections that will make rigging of election almost impossible.
Okay, Senior Advocate, interesting that you mentioned the judiciary, because after the election results were declared in 2023, in fact, there were people who called out the judiciary. Even before, they were saying all eyes on judiciary, and after the Supreme Court gave its verdict, there are those who said they have lost faith in judiciary. The judiciary is no longer credible. It was a narrative that was peddled. But you are a man of the law. What is that a fair assessment, of the judiciary performance, especially in the presidential election, for people to say the Nigerian judiciary has failed the Nigerian people, after that verdict was declared? Was that a fair assessment of judiciary?
Well, with regard to the presidential election petition,
yes, that
went to the Supreme Court in 2023, I respectfully disagree. That assessment is most unfair. It's most unfair because, let me tell you this thing, sir. Many lawyers, including senior advocates of Nigeria, with all due respect, had not grasped the whole essence of the Electoral Act. Not until the Supreme Court gave its decision in Adeleke and Oyetola. It was at that time that the Supreme Court made it clear that there is no law that mandates electronic transmission of results. Let me tell you, sir, by the time the Supreme Court judgment came out, those of us who were discerning, we knew that the article election petition was dead on arrival. Because the bulk of the complaints related to failure of INEC to transmit results electronically. And the Supreme Court has said it is not mandatory. So the courts apply the law as it is. They don't make law. And it would have been most unconstitutional for the Supreme Court to have now decided, just because Nigerians wanted it that way, that there must be electronic transmission of results. No. So we must understand the position of the Supreme Court.
So, senior advocate, it's unfair to blame judiciary. So, as we go into 2027, because they are concerned, there are those who even say they have lost faith in the system, that it's going to drive more political apathy because things didn't go the way they wanted it to go in 2023. Because 2027 is also about a year away now, a very big election year in Nigeria. So, as we head into that, since you have established that it's unfair to blame judiciary, what should we be expecting from the National Assembly to actually cement this? So we know that as we're going to the polls, these and these are what we're supposed to expect from the commission in terms of transmission and all of that.
Thank you very much. The National Assembly owes this country a duty to carry out quickly necessary amendments to the Electoral Act and make provisions apart from electronic transmission of results, other provisions that will guarantee the integrity and the transparency of the electoral process. That is as far as the National Assembly can do. However, I must also say that the INEC, under the leadership of Professor Amukwito, must also, because no matter how good the law is, it is those who operate the law that have the opportunity to make it work. So INEC must also be alive to its duties to ensure that effect is given to the provisions of Electoral Act as amended, INEC guidelines, in order to ensure that there are no complaints regarding the conduct of this presidential election in particular.
Right. Let's go to Barrister Ognola now. Barrister, I don't know, we have about 6-7 minutes to the end, so one question for senior advocate, and then we'll go to Prof. One question for senior advocate,
please.
And then we'll wrap up. Yes, go ahead.
Let me crave your indulgence.
Go ahead. Yes.
My questions will be two.
But very quickly.
The first one, very quickly. The first one is in reaction to the position of the Learned Silk on the Supreme Court judgments relating to the electronic transmission of results. I want to remind the Learned Silk of the decision of the Supreme Court in Access Bank against Oboja. That decision was in 2022, where the court held that regulations made pursuant to a Parent Act is itself subsidiary legislation that the judiciary or the courts ought to take judicial notice of. And so, coming to upgrade discretion above regulation is rather confusing to me. That's number one. Then, the second question. Widespread dissatisfaction with corruption and economic mismanagement was some of the reasons that led to the 1966 coup. 2, widespread corruption, severe economic decline, and administrative incompetence was some of the reasons for the 1983 coup. Aside the above, today we have African governments that undermine the electoral process. The sit-tight syndrome of some African rulers, for instance, Cameroon and Uganda, and regional and continental groupings like ECOWAS and the African Union that are ever ready to condemn coups do next to nothing when governments are crossing acceptable lines of political decency and good governance. What do you think of this?
Senior Advocate, I hope you can summarize your thoughts in like a minute, hopefully.
I will
Yes.
do, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. Regarding the first point my learned, highly respected learned friend made on the status of guidelines. I know that we have the INEC guidelines that make provision for electronic transmission. However, when it comes to constitutional interpretation, there's very little we can say. After the Supreme Court has said that this is the way they say it. You remember, my dear learned friend, the memorable words of Wendell Holmes, Oliver Holmes, said, it is what the law will say, what the court will say is what the law is. What the law court will say in respect of anything is what the law is. As far as I know, there are subsidiary legislations, but the issue is, do INEC guidelines qualify as subsidiary legislation? Are they not just in form of circulars, in form of administrative guidelines made by INEC? That is not an issue that we can resolve here. I agree with you on what the Supreme Court said in Access Bank and Ogboja, but you must know too, and I know you know, that the guidelines that were being considered, for example, CBN guidelines are regarded generally as subsidiary legislation made by the CBN, and they are accepted and given effect by the courts. For now, in order to avoid this kind of argument, let the National Assembly make the necessary amendment so that there will be no basis for any such argument as to whether INEC guidelines can be regarded as law. In any event, they have said it is not law. And do not forget, they didn't say so in the article. No, they had said so before article. They said so in the Adeleke and Oyedola's case. So it was not a decision that just came into being because of the presidential election. No, that has been their position.
Right.
Maybe tomorrow they can look at it. The last question, sir.
Very quickly, sir.
I agree with you. For as long as there is widespread corruption, severe economic decline, and failure of African leaders to speak to presidents or leaders of countries that are not doing well, nobody can predict what will happen or what will not happen.
Okay, let me go to Prof.
Okay, Prof.
Prof, okay. Your final question, because time is very short right now. Prof?
Let me just quickly listen to Prof.
Prof, your final question,
that,
yes.
That everything cannot be made into law. I thought that the Supreme Court decision is often regarded as some kind of lawmaking. And the whole question of ambiguity about decisions that were made by the Supreme Court seems to put the judiciary in very bad light. Is he saying that the judiciary cannot self-correct, that we must go to the National Assembly all the time?
The judiciary can self-correct, and the judiciary has done so on many occasions. Are you with me, sir?
Yes, we're with you.
Tomorrow,
Yes.
if we have such a case, it is possible, but that you have another panel that may look at it critically and come to the conclusion that the judgment in Atiku and INEC was wrong and correct it itself. But until that is done by that court, until the Supreme Court self-corrects itself, that remains and will remain the position of the law.
I have one for you just in 30 seconds because I was reading the judgment of the Federal Court here in Ibadan about the Ibadan National Convention. They've nullified it. But I thought that the position of the court was that, an internal party issue, the court cannot meddle, or if anybody cannot meddle because you'll be referred to as a meddlesome interloper. So I'm wondering why the court took this position. They said that the convention should not have taken place because there were subsisting court orders, regarding that convention. Just in 30 seconds, senior advocate.
Well, thank you very much. This issue of the courts not having jurisdiction to meddle in the internal affairs of a political party is a very fluid one. In this case now, what my understanding of what the Federal Court Ibadan did was just to say that in view of the existing court orders, that is, existing order by the Federal High Court holding at Abuja, High Court of Ibadan, a state high court, you ought not to have done that. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm very sorry. I do not think that it is competent for the Federal High Court to now be sitting on appeal on the decision of the Oyo State High Court, which is a court of coordinate jurisdiction. I am not saying the Oyo State High Court was right,
yes,
but I'm saying that procedurally, the Federal High Court cannot sit on appeal. Why don't they appeal against that judgment or decision of the High Court of Oyo State and let the Court of Appeal make the pronouncement? No High Court can sit on appeal or review the decision of another state high court. The law does not allow that.
Right. Thank you so much.
That seems to me to be what the Federal High Court Ibadan has done in this case.
Right. Thank you so much, Senior Advocate 𝐂𝐿 for being a part of the show. So, Barrister, as we go.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. I beg, don't let Learned Silk go yet because I have to register the complaint of the boys. You have been depriving us the good quality waters from your fountain of legal knowledge for quite a while, because now it is either in Lagos or in Abuja that you are operating and only come here weekends to chop our amala, ewedu and gbegiri. There is God, though.
Thank you. Anytime, my friend, highly respected friend, anytime you need me in Ibadan, just call me.
Right.
I will make myself available.
Certainly. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, Senior Advocate. Thank you, Prof. Thank you, Barrister. That's it on the podium.
Thank you, my dear friend.
Thank you so much. That's it on the podium for today. Thank you for joining us. My name is OLORUNTOBA YUSUF. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye for now.